There is a kind of silence that changes everything. It begins after loss, and suddenly your own home feels unfamiliar. You may walk through the
There it
same rooms every
is.
day, yet nothing
My
feels the way it
old
once did.
favorite.
Even the air seems different. The quiet can feel heavier than any sound. It can sit beside you at the table and follow you to bed. Some mornings, the pain is already waiting when you open your eyes. Before your feet touch the floor, you remember. And you remember who is not there. You remember the side of the bed that stays untouched. You may not cry every day now, but the ache can still live inside almost everything you do. It can show up while you pour coffee. It can appear when you hear a door close somewhere outside. It can reach you in small moments that nobody else sees. That is what makes it so lonely. You may look fine to others. You may even say you are doing all right. But inside you may feel like life was split into two parts, before this happened and after. Living alone after losing your spouse is not just about being by yourself. It is about learning a whole new kind of emptiness. It is the shock of waking up and knowing nobody is in the next room. Nobody is waiting to say good morning. It is the strange pain of not hearing a second cup placed on the counter, not hearing another voice ask a simple question. It is the loss of little routines that once made life feel steady. Those small things mattered more than anyone knew. You may miss things that sound almost too small to explain. A cough in the hallway, footsteps, a light left on. You may find yourself listening for sounds that never come now. And for a moment, your heart still expects them. Then the truth returns again, quietly, coldly, like a wave you never asked for. Maybe the hardest part is how ordinary the pain looks from the outside. A quiet house does not show grief. A made bed does not show grief. A clean kitchen does not show grief, but you feel it anyway. You may sit with your coffee and look at your phone. No messages, no missed calls, just another still morning. You may tell yourself not to make too much of it. You may say others are busy. You may try to be understanding. You may not want to seem needy, lonely, or difficult. So you say less than you feel. You keep more inside than anyone knows. Weekends can feel especially long. The hours stretch and the day seems too large for one person. Evenings can be harder. The light fades and the house starts to feel even more empty. Television can fill the room with noise, but not with comfort, not with real companionship. You may leave a lamp on longer than necessary. You may keep the radio playing just to soften the silence. You may walk past their chair and still glance at it. You may still think of something to tell them. Then it hits you again. There is nobody there to hear it. If this feels painfully familiar, stay here with me for a moment. You do not need to push your feelings away. You do not need to be strong for anybody right now. You only need to be honest with yourself. What you feel makes sense. It makes more sense than you may have been told. This kind of loneliness does not come from weakness. It comes from love, habit, memory, and sudden change. When you lose a spouse, you do not just lose one person. You lose a shared rhythm. You lose the witness to your days. You lose the one who knew your small stories. You lose the person who remembered what mattered to you without being told. That leaves a real space behind. And life keeps moving. Even while your heart is still trying to catch up, that can feel almost cruel. Retirement can make the emptiness louder. There are fewer places to go, fewer built-in reasons to leave the house. Friendships can change too. Some people drift, some feel awkward, some simply stop calling as often. Family may love you deeply and still be busy. Their lives keep pulling them in different directions. That does not mean you matter less, but it can still feel that way in a quiet room. Health changes can make everything harder. Driving may feel tiring. Walking may take more effort than it once did. You may think twice before going out. You may stay home more than you want to. Little by little, the world can start to feel farther away. Not because you stopped caring, but because life changed. Sometimes grief also brings a strange kind of hesitation. You want to reach out, but you stop yourself. You may stare at the phone and think about calling someone. Then you put it back down. You may not want to interrupt. You may not want to sound sad again. You may think, I should be handling this better by now. But grief does not follow a polite schedule. Some days you may wait for someone to remember you first. A call, a visit, a simple check-in. When it does not happen, the hurt can feel deeper than you expected. Not loud, just deep. You may begin to wonder if others have moved on while you are still carrying yesterday. That thought can sting. You may smile when someone asks how you are, then sit down later and feel the room fall silent. There can be a private pain in holding back your real answer, especially when you're tired. You may miss being touched in ordinary ways, a hand on your shoulder, someone passing beside you in the kitchen. You may miss being asked small things. Did you sleep well? Do you want tea? Are you coming with me? Those simple questions once said, you belong here with me. Their absence can be heartbreaking. Sometimes the pain is not dramatic at all. It is just steady, quiet, and always nearby. If you are feeling that kind of pain, you do not need to judge yourself for it. Just notice it. Ask yourself gently, when do you feel it most? In the morning? At dinner? Before sleep? What moment hurts the most now? The first cup of coffee? The dark hallway? The empty second chair? There is no wrong answer. There is only your truth, and it deserves kindness. And even with all of this, I want to tell you something important. This is not the end of your life. It may feel smaller right now. It may feel dimmer, but it is not over. The love you had did not vanish. It still lives in you, even in your sorrow. Your life may never look the same again, but different does not always mean empty forever. Warmth can return in quiet ways, not all at once, not like before, but still it can return. Peace can come back in small pieces, a better morning, a gentle conversation, a day that feels lighter. Meaning can still find you, even now, even here, even after everything changed. You do not have to force yourself to feel hopeful today. Hope can begin much smaller than that. Sometimes hope is just making the bed, opening the curtains, stepping outside for 5 minutes. Sometimes hope is answering one message instead of ignoring it. Sometimes it is speaking one honest sentence. You do not need a brand new life by next week. You only need one small, steady step. One helpful step is naming what you feel honestly, not hiding it under words like fine or okay. You may simply say to yourself, this is loneliness. This is grief. This is a hard day. That kind of honesty can soften something inside. It helps you stop fighting what is already there. When you name the feeling, you are not giving up. You are giving yourself truth. And truth can be a kind of relief. It says you do not have to pretend. Another gentle step is noticing your hardest hours. Every day has certain moments that feel heavier. For you, it may be early morning, or late afternoon, or that quiet time after dinner. Once you see that pattern, you can care for yourself better. You can prepare instead of getting blindsided. You might play soft music before the house feels too quiet. You might call someone before evening settles in. You might take a short walk at the time your sadness usually grows. Small plans can help. Another important step is allowing one point of contact. Just one. It does not have to be many. You do not need a full social calendar. You do not need to become somebody new. You only need one thread back to the world. One neighbor, one relative, one old friend. One regular call can matter. One coffee visit can matter. One familiar face can matter. And if reaching out feels hard, make it smaller. A short text, a simple hello, a brief note. You do not have to explain your whole heart in one conversation. You can begin with one doorway. Another quiet strength is building tiny routines that belong only to you now. This matters more than it seems. Loss can break the shape of the day. Routine helps give the day a little shape again. You might water a plant each morning, sit by a window at the same time, read before bed. You might take the same short walk after lunch, listen to one favorite song while making dinner. These things may sound small, but small things can hold a day together. They remind your heart that life still has rhythm. Even a changed life can have rhythm. Another step is protecting your self-worth when silence starts telling lies. Silence can be cruel that way. It can whisper that you are forgotten. It can whisper that you no longer matter. But silence is not the truth. It is only silence. A quiet phone does not measure your value. An empty room does not measure your worth. You are still a whole person with history, love, wisdom, humor, and deep human value. You are still someone whose life matters, not because you are needed for a task, but because you exist. And one more gentle step is letting comfort in without guilt. This is important. Sometimes after loss, even small comfort can feel strange. You may wonder if it means letting go. It does not. Comfort is not betrayal. A peaceful moment does not erase love. Laughing once does not mean you loved less. Resting does not mean you forgot. Making your home warmer for yourself is not a failure. It is care. Buying flowers, opening the blinds, cooking something simple, sitting in the sun. These things are allowed. You are allowed to make this life softer. You are allowed to help yourself. Please remember this part because it matters deeply. You are not invisible. You are not a burden because you miss being needed. You are not weak because the evenings are hard. You are not failing because you still talk to the person you lost in your mind. That is love speaking. You are not too old to be understood. You are not too far gone to feel closeness again. And you are not strange for still hurting in ordinary moments were where love used to live. The chair, the hallway, the mailbox, the kitchen light, these were part of your shared life. Of course they still affect you. Of course they still carry feeling. If nobody has said this clearly to you, let me say it now. What you are carrying is real. And the fact that you carry it quietly does not make it any smaller. It only makes you gentler than most know. You deserve patience as you live through this. You deserve tenderness in your own home. Maybe today will still feel heavy. Maybe tonight will still feel long. But perhaps after hearing this, the silence will feel a little less confusing, a little less personal. Maybe you will stop blaming yourself for missing what was beautiful. Maybe you will breathe a little easier. Maybe you will remember that loss changed your life, but it did not erase you. There is still a person here worth caring for. That person is you. So tonight, be gentle with yourself. Make one small thing easier. Light one warm lamp. Tomorrow, take one small step back toward life. Not a giant step, just one. And if this voice felt like it understood something you have been carrying, you can stay connected here. If you want, leave a simple comment like, "I understand," or "This is me." And if this helped, you can like and subscribe. No pressure at all. Just know you are welcome here and you do not have to sit with this silence by yourself.